Hey folks, welcome back to the studio. So today we are actually going to be working on the 3D printer. I need to replace the hot end, the nozzle, the silicone sleeve that goes around it. I have a new deck or new bed for it. Make sure it's level, get all the spacing, the XYZ axis and everything going, and get this thing working again. I've had the 3D printer for a little over a year now or so, and just recently it's not wanting to dispense right. I cleaned out the nozzle, but just not doing it. So I went ahead and took off the old one and put on the new one, but in process, the silicone sleeve is destroyed. Now, it did come with an extra nozzle, but not the extra silicone. So first off, I picked up this here, and inside this is a whole bunch of nozzles and a few replacement sleeves. And this is from Creality. And then while I was at it, they had a nice coupon. And I said, if you buy 2 items, you get a percentage off. So I went ahead and bought a new removable deck pad thing. Again, it's from Creality. And it comes in this. And there you have it. So the difference between the one that came with it and this one, it's the same size. This one here is front and back, which is pretty neat. It's heavier. It's definitely heavier than the old one, where this one is just the metal and then the black. Things here to pick it up with. It's still a magnet. So yeah. The feel, they feel about the same, so should work out. It might be a little bit thicker, so that's why I need to work on to make sure that the X or the actual Z axis is actually good. So, but the other thing I also picked up, go ahead and get rid of that. Again from Creality. So this is the housing that goes around it. It's insulated, fire resistant, but it's tint, I guess you can call it. So we're going to go ahead and add this to it. I don't know if some of the issues I've been running into is because fluctuation in temperature. I run the AC a lot because I do live, in the desert, and the AC is right above, this area. So I want to go ahead and get this up there so the temperature stays more constant, and I won't have issues with it, not holding on to the deck or not layering properly, cooling down too quickly, that sort of thing. So let's go ahead and get busy on all this today. The hardest part about this video today, honestly, is getting the shots for the video without being in the way. So I'm going to try to do my best. So first off, I'm going to show you the parts that I had already taken off. This wasn't a planned video. I just thought this would be a good video since I was doing it and it was so entailed. But as you can see here, this is the nozzle. I did try to clean it off and everything, but you are supposed to clean these when they are warm, which I did, and it just didn't clean it up really nice. So time to change it out. And for the price of them, I could go through and, clean it up and finish cleaning it or whatever. But honestly, they're not expensive. I will have a link to all the parts that I am using in the description, so if you want to check those out yourself. So this is the little hot end nozzle, and it just screws up in there and unscrews when you want to take it out. It is, now see, the machine did come with a wrench, but I used, ratcheting socket, and it's a 6mm to get that out. I found that easier instead of using the wrench and torquing on it kind of thing. This kept it more steady so I wasn't pulling or pushing in any direction. So I do recommend getting a socket. Now this here was the silicone sleeve kind of thing. However this thing went together. I don't know. But it wraps around the hot end. There's a aluminum housing up in here, and this goes around it. What it's supposed to do is regulate the heat. It's supposed to keep it warm without cooling, drastic changes in the temperature in the hot end itself. But silicone, after a while, I mean, you heat it up so many times and it does become a little bit brittle and fragile. And when I removed it, yeah, it just came off in pieces. That's also why this thing. So let's go ahead and get this opened and take out the new ones, shall we? Once I find my scissors. So this is the new one. And it just slips on there, and this goes up into a ridge or the top of it. And that's how it holds on. And that's where the nozzle come out. All right, so this packet comes with, what is that, 10? Yeah, 10 little hot end nozzles and 5 of these silicone sleeves. There was a variety of different packages. I could get a whole bunch of these or, a handful of those separately. I just went ahead and grabbed this because, it was all together. I think it was like $7 or $8 or something like that. Like I said, link is in the description for these. The biggest thing with this is make sure that you are getting the correct, the right packet for your machine. This machine here is the Creality Ender 3 Neo. But yeah, so that's what's in this here. So we're going to go ahead, change angle, and I will show you how these go in. Okay, so how to take this off is while your machine is cold, you pull off this silicone sleeve. Okay? Yeah, heat up your hot end. You do that in the settings. You heat up your nozzle end, go ahead and just head over to Control, Temperature, Nozzle End, and then turn it up to 180 and let it warm up. Once it comes up to temp, use your socket and take this off. And be sure not to touch it because it will burn you very, very bad. Alright? But it is easier to remove this hot end when it is hot. Okay, once you get it off, you can put your other one on. Let it cool off. Turn the machine off, let it cool off, and then put your silicone sleeve back on. Because there's no way of getting the silicone sleeve back on without touching it. Alright, now as far as the silicone sleeve, when you're looking at the bottom of it, you have 3 sides that are smooth. And this side here, you have wires and everything going into it. And as you can see on this thing, there's 3 sides to it, but this is open here. And you want to make sure that this side is on your wired side. And all you do is you just slip on the back and then slip those up and around. Okay? Now, of course, my machine is completely turned off, so this is nice and cold. Do not do it hot, obviously. You will burn yourself. I mean, that's self-explanatory. This thing gets pretty hot. Just had to get up and around that ridge up there. But yeah, nice and flush, nice and around it. But there's that. So quick, easy change out. At the same time, you can hit this with canned air or get all the dust off of it and get it cleaned up. It's really good maintenance to do. Go ahead and get this cleaned up while you're at it. Get all the fans cleaned up. And that's it for replacing the hot end on this machine. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and make sure that the bed is level. So before that, I'm going to explain a few things. I know a lot of you already know this, but some of you may not. So these here adjust the bed up and down. You have 4 of them, so you can get it level how you need it, because this corner may be lower or higher, who knows. To do this, there's indications up, you go this way, down you go this way, or clockwise you go up, counterclockwise you go down. Okay. How I like to start it is I have it bottomed out all the way down, and I'm just going to bring it up a little on all four sides. That way I have a little bit of playroom to get it level, not too much, and try to do it, fairly equal. Now your Z axis, which you can see here, go to prepare, and then down to where it says Z offset, and if you would like, especially if you're starting out, zero this out. So zero means that if you think of a grid, I know back to, math or whatnot, if you think of a grid, your zero is dead center. So if you go positive, you're lifting the head up. If you go negative, that head is going to come down. Okay? So if you're just starting off with it, I would suggest having it at 0. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and set that. And now we're going to go ahead and run a leveling on it. And it's going to do its thing. So what it's going to do is it's going to check 12 points along the bed itself. And what we're looking for is this number, 5.7, 5.3. Now these are in millimeters. 4.9, 4.7. So what this is saying or showing me is this side is higher, 4.9. So I'm going to go ahead and lift this side up. But I'm still going to pay attention to these numbers. If you need to write them down as you're going, go ahead. 5.3, 5.1. Now they are going to vary slightly. 4.8. 4.5, so this side is way low. And 4.9. Let it finish up. So by doing this side is high, the back end was low, so I already lifted that side up. I'm going to lower this side here. Okay, so that's been lowered. These two have been lifted. I'm going to run it again. You may have to do this several times. When I get it level, then we're going to do the paper test. So let's go ahead and run this again. Alright, so this is the 5th time that I'm running this, and we'll go ahead and see how it is. So when you're talking the difference between, 5 and 5.1, it's 0.1 of a millimeter, and that's not a lot of difference. So I do have a tolerance of about 0.2. I'm hoping to get it within. And we'll see what it's doing. So again, you're going to look at your z-axis number when it dips. So that's 5.0, 4.9. No bed is perfectly, the surface is not perfectly level. You're going to have minor variations. So 4.9, 5.0, 5.1, 5.0, 4.9, 5.0. And 4.9. So that is really good in my opinion. I'm about 5 all the way across. Alright, so it's come to a rest after leveling, and this is going to be its distance when it is printing. So now you're going to take a piece of paper about the thickness of a business card, slip it underneath there, and now we're going to change the Z-axis so that this business card will move around, but with a little bit of resistance. Okay, so we're going to bring the head down, so we need to go negative. What I like to do is just sit here and move it in circles as I'm dropping it down. You'll feel it catch. And I'm starting, there we go. I feel the resistance now. Okay, and there we have it. A little bit of resistance. And there. And if you look under the, in there, you can see the head barely above the plate. Let's go ahead and see if I can show you that. There's a little airspace in there. I hope you can see it. And since our bed is level according to our Z-axis and all its points, now that we've done the business card slide and there's a little air gap, it should be perfect all the way around. So what we can do is go ahead and do a test print now. Alright, to do that, I just go to prepare down here, hit PLA, preheat PLA, which is going to warm up. I'm going to go back and I'm going to just pick something to print. So we'll just go ahead and go with boat, which is your standard one. Everyone has it because it does, it's like the standard little 3D model that comes with this. Okay, and we'll wait for this to warm up and see how it prints. Now normally I do put down some glue stick, but I'm not going to run this very long. I just want to make sure that it's not coming out too thick of a layer or too squished of a layer, that sort of thing. Okay, so this is a nice clean line. And that looks to be a very nice clean line as well. It's not squished down, it's not, round like this is. If it was too round, it would be too far away. And it would also not be sticking. And as you can see, it is sticking down in there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it because like I said, I just want to see the first layer. And see how it looks. And I'll show you what you are looking for. Okay, we are looking for the lines. As you can see how they wrap around, there's like 3 in there. We want them nice and close together. If there's a separation, that means normally you're too high. If they're squished out and kind of opaque, that means you're a little bit too close. And if you're scratching it, you're definitely way too close. Ignore this guy. that's where we ended. So our lines are nice and close together. There's no gaps in between. They're nice and level. I can fill them. There's no bumps. It's not squished out and opaque all the way around. And this looks good. So I would say that this deck is level and ready to go. Let's go ahead and move on to its new tint. Alright, let's get this thing unboxed and see what we're dealing with, shall we? Okay, so we do have a fan and all the parts. See, these are all the pulls, the corners that they all clip to. You basically build this frame and then you put the housing on it and then you screw the fan to it and the fan will ventilate. And all the cords should come out in one of these holes. So let's go and get busy. All right. This is the giant cover. We'll wait to open that. Here is all of the corners. Let's get these popped open. All right, just your basic little corners. And we have 8 of those in total. Here's our filter, and the fan is in here. We'll open that up in a little bit. All right, so number 1. Number 2s. Number 3. Number 1s. And number 3. All right, so right here I have 2 number 2s, and as you can see, they are different. Okay. So how this works is you put them together like that. Okay. So on one side, it looks to be the front and the back, top and bottom. You have the number 2s. Okay. So we're gonna do that. Get another set here. Just like that. And you're gonna do the same thing with the number 1s, because they're the same way. So number 1, but it has a tapered end with the plug, and then the number 1 that is no tapered end, but it has the hole. So like that. Okay. And there you go. All right, now we're going to take our 4-corner and I'm going to put a number 1. And a number 2. Okay. This one over here is a number 1, so I'll make sure I'm going to put a number 1 because they are different lengths, the 1s and 2s. So I wanted to show you, but the number 2 and the number 1 is longer. All right, so we have the base put together. Now we're going to do the same thing with the 3s. All right, so the 3s are the same way. One end is tapered with the plug, the other one has the hole. Put them together, and they're going to go into each of the 4 corners. Alright, and it is all put together now. Sorry I wasn't able to do it on camera. We had to do some rearranging in this room to get everything to fit properly. But let's go ahead and go over the features and how this was put together. So up here at the top, you have a temperature and humidity gauge of what's going on inside, which is super helpful. And inside, there is the fan. It's an exhaust fan, so it's pulling heat and humidity out of the little room here. The machine fits in perfect. I mean, plenty of room, plenty of space going around. Alright, so how this is put together. As you've seen, these bars here are 1 and 1. The back and the front are number 2 and 2. And the uprights are 3 and 3. It fits in rather snug. We did have to make sure that it was all, compressed and squished in and down completely for this thing to fit on. Like I said, it was very snug getting it together. But this unzips all the way to the back. But I have it up on a table, so getting to that is kind of difficult. The fan itself, the metal housing goes on the inside, and where the screws go, it's a little offset from the rest of it, so make sure it's, concaved outward. Then you have your fan, and then you have, the tint thing. And then on the outside, you have the filter that comes with it. And then the outside housing, which is 2 pieces. You have to pop it apart to put it together, because the screws go through the first piece, and then what you're seeing there is just the cap for it. But all the wires go out back there so that they can feed and get plugged into the wall outlet. And there is an access panel on this side, but I have the laser over on this side, so I won't ever be using that. But like I said, this thing is big enough. I mean, there's plenty of room to get around it. I don't see me ever needing that access panel, maybe for a different machine, but not for the one that I have. Alright, so there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found this useful. So we replaced the nozzle and the silicone sleeve, added a new bed, completely leveled the bed, and built its little housing box thing. So the links for all of this is going to be in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, give it a thumbs up, and share it. If you have found easy, useful things, like, an easier way of leveling the table or anything like that, let me know in the comments. If you have any suggestions or any add-ons that, we can add to this, let me know in the comments below. And until then, I will see you in the next one. Stay creative.